Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week we're moving into watch repairs. I'll see you in a minute. Right, a bit of a first for me today. The only experience I've ever had with watches was when I'd been given one as a child, and within about a fortnight I'd taken it to bits and couldn't put it back together again, and that was in the days when they had cogs and wheels and all sorts of things inside them. This is my wife's watch that she bought, I don't know, 18 months or so ago. Stopped working the other day and she had a new battery fitted and it was okay, and then a couple of days later it stopped again, so we gave it a smack and it started working and it was fine for a couple of days and then it stopped again. Now, I don't imagine there's a lot I'm going to be able to do with this because it's battery and more or less a sealed unit, but it's probably one of two things that I might be able to do. Otherwise it's a case of getting something new. First thing is, it's probably just contact on the battery, or it could just be a bit of fluff grit or something else inside it. Just to sort of highlight the problem, I suspect if I gave it a slap now it would actually start to work. There you go, it's off already. So it's something very intermittent. It's either a connection or the battery itself, the actual contact between the battery and the prongs on it. First thing I need to do is take the back off. Now, I've done this before with my own tools, but I haven't got the right sort of thing for it, but one of my buddies at the railway club has, so I'm going to take it over there and get him to take the back off it, and then we can come back to it when we've done that and have a look and see if there's anything obvious. Now, I took the watch along to the railway club the other night and my buddy has got the back off for me. I hadn't realised it. I thought it would need a special tool, but actually when I look at it, there was, I can't even see it now. Oh yes, no, just there was a slight depression there that you could just get a knife blade into and flip it off, and he did that within about 10 seconds. So I might need his help to get the back on, because I know they don't always go on very easily, but there's not a lot there to it. There's not a lot I'm going to be able to deal with if it's a connection or something that's gone, but immediately I looked at it I was sort of unhappy with the way that the battery mounts into it, because it literally is just lying in there with a friction fit on the side, but it can wobble about. You can press one side of it there and that side comes up, and you press that side down and the other side comes up. So I'm sort of the opinion that I was almost to start with, that this is a contact problem with the battery. And before I even start to think about cleaning contacts or anything, the fact that I can push it up and down a millimetre and it can move around, which it is doing up and down, is giving me some cause for it being a likely problem. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the time. It's working at the moment. I'm going to set the time. It's 2:20 now, so we'll get that set. I mean, it could even be on the winding mechanism that it's gone, because I believe that also stops it, but we'll have a look and see. But at the moment it's set on 2:20, so we can always tell whether it's working or not. But what I'm going to do, I've got a very small clip here that I use with my railway modelling, and I'm just going to press that down on there and just leave it now, and we're going to leave it for a couple of weeks and just see what happens to that, because what was happening before was that the minute you just put it down and left it, after a while it would stop working. Now if it continues to keep working, all I'm going to do then is just put a very small pad of something like a sponge, sticky sponge rubber type thing on the back, little bear on the battery, and that might solve the problem. But the first thing to do is to find out whether or not that's what the problem is. I'll come back to you in a fortnight or so. Right, so that's clearly not the answer. So what I haven't done so far in all of this is to actually take the battery out. So it's quite possible that when it first stopped working it was just a flat battery, and that when they've fitted the battery something has gone on that's disturbed it. And I've not actually taken that battery out yet, so what I'm going to do is take it out, give all the contacts a bit of a clean. I've got a little glass fibre brush. It's tiny little strands of glass fibre in a brush that we use, or I use, with the model making to clean up metal. It's like a very mild abrasive, but you can see it just cleans up a patch. So I'm going to take that battery out, give the battery and all the contacts a clean. I've got some cotton buds. I'm going to give it a little bit of isopropyl alcohol perhaps, and give it a wipe, and then see where we go from there. But as I say, this is the first time I've actually taken the battery out. We'll just give everything a very light rub over. Just two contacts. What I should have really, which I haven't got, is one of these little air blowers that's like a can of compressed air that would blow any dust or anything out, but I haven't got that. It really is tiny. And the same with the battery itself. Doesn't help having fat fingers. Probably can't see it, but it looks like there's some marking and that on the side of that. Now if that did happen to be anywhere near where the contact was, it would interfere, but probably clutching at straws. But what I will do is get rid of it all, polish it a bit. We'll see how all this goes anyway. Really don't think I think we're sort of getting to the point where there's nothing more I'll be able to do, I don't think. But we'll keep trying. Let's do the bottom. Clean it all up. Surprising how much dirt's coming off it anyway. But that may just be wishful thinking. Right, pop the battery back in, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll rinse and repeat. We'll set the time back to 11:15. And then leave it again. Now that's stopped again. Oh, I know what. See, I wonder. I don't know. That pulling that side thing out does switch the thing on and off, and it is possible that the fault is actually down in here, where the watch stop part comes in and out. So there is a possibility that there's something in there, but we might just work that switch a bit. That is now working again. Clamp back on and back up into the bedroom to stand next to the other one to make sure we know when it's stopped. Well, after a day and a half that clearly hasn't worked. It's stopped at nearly 1:10 in the morning, so we will take it down into the workshop and pursue something else. See, it started again now. Weird little thing. Right, so I've had a succession of false hopes and failures with this over the last, well, it's been probably a month and a half now. It did go for a very long time, and I thought we'd cracked it and was about to put the back on, and the night before it stopped again, and I'm pretty much running out of ideas. I'm going to take the battery out today, and although I've got a replacement which is an identical battery, I am going to try it just in case there's any sort of corrosion on the battery case or anything like that, and then I'm going to have another quick look at the contacts on the bottom, just to see if there's any chance it's something I've missed that isn't quite catching it. But it's just annoying in that it's okay, it's stopped now. I only have to just touch that battery almost, or I was having to only just touch the battery, and it started working now. That's interesting that it won't now this time. It's off, there you go. And all I've done is just put a bit of pressure on, so I'm still suspicious that it's the little contact pin that goes onto the battery. And my thought was, if that battery has been lying around a while and isn't, although I've cleaned everything, it's just possible it's just not making as good a contact as it might. I've raised the little contact in the bottom with the pick, and I've raised the little contact on the side with the pick, but I'm just running out of ideas. So we'll try this one last time with another battery replacement and see where we go from there. But it does look like it's just so annoying that it will go. It must have gone for 3 weeks, I think, at one point without any problem. And if it's in use, it's generally quite okay because you're getting movement all the while. But we'll just have a quick look in with my little jeweler's loop, see if I can see anything in there that's remotely a problem. I'll have another quiet look at the contacts with the brush. And one last go with the battery. And as I say, when you put the two batteries alongside one another, that one is definitely a lot more scabby than this one, so maybe it's old stock. It's the only hope we can offer. Push that in. It's 22:11, so we'll go back and set that time correct and see if that's helped in any way, shape or form. We will see how we get on with that and see whether or not it's just corrosion or not very good contact being made on that battery. I have to say, for a new battery, it didn't look anything like as nice as that one. But off we go again now for another 2 or 3 week wait until we see if it's done any good. Now, I've just been looking back at the video logs when this was started, and it was October 2022. It's now January the 28th, something like that, 27th. It just shows how difficult it is to track down some of these intermittent problems, and it's not just watches, it's cars or anything like that, any electronic, where it happens one day and then it doesn't happen the next. I've been fighting a pump in the garage on the central heating that was a similar sort of problem, that you think you've solved the problem and then 2 months later it'll bite you in the bum again. In this instance, I'm reasonably comfortable now that we've sorted the problem. It did stop once. It would be deceitful of me to say I solved the problem. It did stop once, about 2 months ago. But what I did then was to do what I mentioned very early on. I put the smallest pad of foam inside between the battery and the case,
just to locate it. It's just the fact that it was moving very slightly as well that was also giving us a problem. It's like a lot of these issues, you've probably got two things going on at once, and it's finding both of them that you've got to do to make the thing better. In this instance, as I say, now it's been running for 2 months, no problems at all, so I'm happy enough that we've got there in the end. But don't ever discount the obvious. Just because you've had a brand new battery in a watch, don't discount the fact that it might actually be that that's causing the problem. So there's a bit to learn from this, and a lot of frustration during the sorting process, but we got there in the end. Hope the video was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. See you then. Bye.